useless. But the part that um, part that we're talking about, like do we have to uh, get approval from others in order to you know to show up as yourself, to get work, or to is that really necessary? That's kind of, you were just saying that. And I think, well, if I show up as myself, you know, as I discover that, and as I am discovering that, and you know, um, here to share something that's unique, that's my flavor that I'm adding to this big picture, this world picture. You know, that's really, that's what it is. It's enough, and I'm here to to find my way of how I you know well, I can share this with the people that I'm here to share it with. It's not necessarily for the entire globe, and yeah, it's here to bring my successes through that, through me being my unique self, and and how I'm here to make money doing that as well, you know, in some graceful way, without stepping away from being myself to try to prove to other people, in order to for me to survive. I think that's the old way, and it's not what's working anymore. It's I mean, it's still work. You can make a living doing that, sure, but do you really feel fulfilled? Do you really feel satisfied in your being? When you're living from the outside in rather than the inside out. From the place of trying to please everybody rather than coming from a place of your own sense of self worth, from your inner sense of self worth. You know what I mean?
So when I process this, I think of worth, right? And you kind of put it out there in our capitalistic economic society. Worth is based on, well, one aspect of worth is money, right? So how much am I worth financially? So stripping that away and talking about what remains in the context of worth. I mean, I feel like I'm a worthy soul, right? But I'm worth fulfillment and happiness and joy and peace and everything that I strive for. So as I kind of strive, it's funny, I say striving. Maybe it's not about striving for worth and to be worthy in the context of, being a soul who is deserving of everything I said: peace, love, respect. So in that context, I think that as we talk about being worthy, we were just talking about proving that worth and being accepted and being recognized. And I'm processing this as I'm saying it, that, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not about,
There's a question.
proving worth, right?
There's a
It's just
question you
about
mentioned
being
at the
worthy,
beginning.
right?
You mentioned a question at the beginning that you were sharing something. Can you, in terms of, your upbringing, and you've experienced some of the similarities of being bullied, and how that has
Yeah.
affected your life in terms of you know self-worth. How do you apply, how is that affecting you in your life today in terms of you know um, how you make a living, how you show up, in your relationships, how is that affecting all of these things for you?
So I'll just do a quick, very quick unpacking and just give you a flyover of what I've learned about myself based on my experience. I feel like I was born into the world as an old soul. I've kind of done the work on that, and I don't want to get all ethereal or past life and all that stuff, but I feel like I've been around the block, right? So even as a kid, I knew that, right? And then I was subjected to a dysfunctional family where there was alcohol involved, and didn't know what that meant because I'm just existing in it, right? And then I've got parents that are doing the best they can and everything. And then when I was 14 years old, my father checked me into Alateen because it was getting dysfunctional. So I started learning about the AA process and what all that means. And that's when I became really kind of conscious and aware of how my implication of worth had been mitigated because of the dysfunction of the way things were playing out. And again, there's lots of stories and examples I could bring into it, but just that context. And then for the rest of my life, up until today, I'm still reflecting on how that shows up and that codependence and, back to that approval and, and not, and I guess there's kind of a component of it that where I feel not worthy in some strange way. Cause as I say this to you, Richard, I'm like, I know I'm worthy. I just know it, and I've known it all my life. And as I conform to society and then I start, and maybe part of it is comparison, as I compare myself to other people and I see all these other people that do what I do, and answering a component of your question, I do what I do in the world vocationally because I feel compelled to do it. And I've set up a business around it. I've gotten degrees around it, right? I've gotten certifications and I've got the chops and I know how to do this. And an aspect of that is gift. I know what I'm gifted at. I know what my blessings are, right? And one of the things we're doing as we're talking is we're kind of experiencing each other's blessings and gifts, because I love listening to you and you speak so well and eloquently, and I think I do too, right? And I think that that's a responsibility I've got, is to be that and to do that and give that gift to the world. And then you layer on, well, then, why am I doing it? Is it because I want to get approval? Because I want to make money? There's components of that. And then I get to stop and look at my family of origin stuff and all the stuff that I've been unpacking all my life and realize I got to stop short of thinking that my worth is based on something, that I have to prove that. And it's funny because, it's funny. I'm trying to escape this psychology of rationalizing that I don't have to prove something, because we kind of do have to prove something to the marketplace. If it's like marketing, if I go out there and I provide services and there's lots of value, unless I market, then I'm not going to get recognized or approved, right? That's the value of marketing, is that people, oh yeah, and then they choose you, they pick you, and then it becomes a business transaction, and then that vocation gets fulfilled. So it's like there's two aspects of worth and approval, right? But as I do that, as I do the marketing and I develop my business, it's not like I'm seeking to prove my worth. I'm just seeking to develop my business. So what's the difference? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I think the difference is when it comes to the whole thing about comparison. I mean, there are a few different things you spoke about there. So comparison is one thing. That's one thing I can chat about. But the last question was about approval, proving ourselves to what? To prove to our clients, to the business world, um, the world of business, proving ourselves to our loved ones, to our families, to our friends, our friends, trying to prove that we are worthy of being loved, prove that we are worthy of, you know, whatever it is one seeking to prove. I think that's when we start comparing ourselves, then that pops up, because we're comparing ourselves with whom. I want to be the next billionaire, I want to be the next whatever multi this or that. I want to be like that one, because look at what they've got that I don't have. When we get locked into that kind of thinking in that comparison way, that's we've already disconnected from our true selves, because it's not who we are. We're comparing ourselves to be like something that's not us, something that's outside of us, to be like that. So how can you be yourself? And the whole point is, as we learn to really discover ourselves and really feel comfortable in it. And I'm becoming more and more comfortable in being myself through this work that I do. It's really teaching me, and it's always it's always an unraveling, even when I think I've done that work before years, it still opens up a whole new pathway. It's like, oh, wow, okay. This is not over. This is a never ending process, at least, from where I'm at in this stage of my life. And so, that comparison thing gets in the way. And the more I discover who I am, I settle into it and know that, and what I'm sharing with the world, what I'm here to bring, my comfortability with myself, my trust in my process, and what I've been given here, my strategy for how I'm here to navigate in this world. That gives me this confidence, this ability to really, this groundedness, to really trust in that process and know that, it's been given to me for a reason. It's been given to me for the reason that, in order to really function and operate in this playing field, in this earth playing field, this material world field, you know, with confidence as myself, and to trust that, it has everything wrapped into it for me to be satisfied in my life, to be successful in my life, to really show up as a unique individual. And that brings a lot of joy to me. It brings a lot of satisfaction and joy, in every stage of my development. And I love that. And yeah, I'm here to share that with people. So that's kind of the point to me.